Hello, everybody, and welcome again to the first episode of the Witcher podcast. I'm your host, Danny Newton, joined as always by my co-host, Derek Rios. How are you today, Derek?
I'm fine, Danny.
Well, we definitely have a good episode today. This show is amazing.
Yeah, it's a nice reprieve from our normal watching horrible movies.
Yes. We finally get to talk about something we enjoy.
Yeah.
Yes. Episode 1. Right off the bat, we are shown Geralt killing a spider monster.
Yeah, not really a spider. It just has multiple legs.
Oh, does it?
I can't. They call it something.
I called it a spider monster. It's a man-faced spider monster. Whenever you see him in action, he's all like, whited out, hopped up on like elixirs and stuff like that. And he slays this spider. I think it's meant to introduce us to exactly what the Witcher's job is, which is to go around and slay monsters, but, he's a mercenary, a sword for hire. After he slays this monster, the elderman of the town left a note, basically posted it to the job board, right? Slay this thing and you'll get paid.
Yeah.
And then he goes to the town to collect his money, and he gets stiffed.
Well, he runs into the elderman's daughter,
Mm-hmm.
who tells him, that's not what we were looking for. We actually like those spider monsters because they keep the population control.
Yes.
So it was all to lure the Witcher to the wizard,
Mm-hmm.
because that was all just a ruse.
First off, we go in the tavern. He's asking basically for directions, right?
Yeah.
And
He's well liked. Everyone loves him.
oh yeah, everybody loves to see him. They know a hero's in town. No, they all treat him like garbage. You see immediately that the common folk, like you and me, regard people like him as not even people anymore. They regard him as no better than the monsters he's killing.
He doesn't consider himself human anymore.
No.
Like Witchers aren't really. They're born human,
Mhm.
but they're pretty much transmuted. They're magical beasts, effectively, at this point.
Yeah.
People just generally don't like them because they're just hired arms. Geralt has a motto that he lives by. The whole series is kind of struggling with it. He doesn't want to be evil, but it's always a lesser of evils that he has to choose.
Mm-hmm.
He tries to be a good person, but he's always thrust in these situations where
Right.
he's still got to murder someone.
Mm-hmm. He's always trying very hard just to stay out of it.
Yeah. There's a lot of fate being entwined.
Oh, yeah.
And that kind of, it just throws him in the midst of it. Because really, the main driving force of the whole story is this little girl, Ciri. After Geralt is introduced, we're introduced to her, Ciri. That's this princess. And she's the main driving point for the whole series, the whole storyline.
Mm-hmm.
And Geralt's kind of a side character in that aspect, but he's her guardian and effectively becomes like her traitor later on.
Yes. If you're watching through this series your first time, you've never seen it, it can be disorienting.
It is pretty confusing.
Yes.
You really don't know what's going on until the end of it.
It doesn't do anything to tell you that Geralt's whole storyline is taking place in the past.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Ciri's whole storyline is taking place in the present. And the very first time you watch through this series, it's very disorienting. The second watch through is much better. You get way more out of it. You get more depth out of it.
You start learning about the world the whole story takes place in.
Yeah.
Because the first time, I was just watching and enjoying it, and just entertained.
Yeah.
I really didn't soak up all these facts of the whole elf war. To me, that was just minute details.
Right. It was backstory that didn't really play a part.
That's really a huge part of the story.
Yeah.
The cleansing of the elves is what the humans call it, where they pretty much drive them out of their land.
Right.
They just slaughter them and enslave a lot of them.
This episode really felt like every D&D game I've ever played. You form an adventuring party, you go out, you kill a monster, right? And that's exactly what he does.
The books are actually, a lot of them are broken into short stories.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole introduction to Geralt of Riviera's character in this episode is a short story of where you learn about where he gets the title, the Butcher of Blaviken.
Yep, and that's exactly what they show you in this episode.
Yeah.
Well, first at the tavern, he meets, let's see.
Renfrey.
Yes, he meets up with Renfrey.
This super hot ex-princess, magical imbued.
She
She
definitely has a high charisma score.
She's not a bounty hunter at this point. She's
Mm-hmm.
she's pretty much a thug. She's a robber.
Mm-hmm. And he meets up with her in the tavern because, basically all the boys in the tavern call him a freak and a mutant and regard him as a monster. They want him to go. They're about to, throw their lives away trying to make him go. And she was like, no, not right now.
Well, those are
her guys.
Yeah, her goons.
But, after they talk for a minute, he leaves the tavern and he meets up with the Elderman's daughter, who's basically like, nah, we're not paying you for this. We, like you said, we like these things. They keep the population down by eating people. And
Marilka.
Marilka is the girl's name.
Yeah, the little girl. She leads him to the wizard, effectively.
Like, if you come to this mage tower, though, he'll buy anything.
Master Stregobor.
Yeah, she literally brags about killing her dog and telling this guy.
Yeah, it's a really interesting conversation they have.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of find out quite a bit about this little girl.
This little girl tells him what her mom says about him, and people like him. Yeah. That's really when you get the consensus of the way conventional society treats them. Mm-hmm. Essentially, they're all foul creatures born of hell and sorcery. So she takes him to meet Stregobor, who is locked up in this mage's tower in what looks like a little backwater town. Yeah,
he's got an illusion spell on the door
that
Geralt walks through, and of course there's just... It's like a small Eden inside of this tower with a bunch of naked women. It's definitely a nice paradise that he has going there. I don't know what he's complaining about.
But, after he meets up with Stregobor's like, this girl named Renfrey that I, forgot to kill when she was a baby. She's coming to murder me because I keep trying to murder her. And I want you to murder her for me.
The whole thing is this girl was born on an eclipse, a full eclipse, and they call it the Black Sun.
Yeah.
And apparently there was like 60 girls born, and he doesn't kill her because he's experimenting on her first and like seeing what mutation she has, and apparently resistant to magic.
Yep.
Which he happens to be a wizard.
Dangerous.
After he gets her kicked out, her men rape her. At least that's her side of the story. She goes and starts scrapping on the streets and learns swordplay. Being magic resistant and highly skilled with swords makes her very deadly to any casters.
Right. We don't ever get like any other mage talking about her. She's only in this episode. You would have to think that in this world, someone who is immune to magical effects would be a devastating threat to the Mages College.
100%.
Yeah. Of course they want her dead. They must be terrified of her. Stregobor's talking to him and is like, look, she's a mutant. And apparently he's trying to tell Geralt that she's destined to sow blood across the land and destroy the world and stuff like that, right? Obviously, it sounds like a line of shit. That's, what he's going with.
It's an old prophecy. These blood witches created all these girls who are born on this black sun.
Yeah.
That were supposed to pretty much raise the earth, yes.
Mm-hmm. And Geralt looks at him and it's just like, yeah, it's all bullshit. You know how I know it doesn't rhyme?
It doesn't rhyme.
All good prophecies rhyme. Stregobor tells him that he's going to have to pick the lesser of evils. That's not his thing. He doesn't want to take sides. He doesn't want to be part of anybody's internal struggles or personal conflicts or something like that.
So he just asks the Witcher to kill her, and the Witcher's like, he just doesn't want to be involved.
He essentially declines the offer, and this seems to be the kind of fellow that if you decline his offer, you better be looking over your shoulder.
he just goes and leaves the town. And then Renfrey finds him out in the woods. And she talks about her side of the story where she was raped by his men and pretty much destroyed her entire life. At that point, was just rejected and had to grow up on the streets.
He is down by the riverbank collecting herbs. Renfrey walks up and he's talking to his horse. And he talks to his horse because, his horse listens. His horse doesn't give him a bunch of bullshit in his life.
His horse that's named Roach.
Yes.
The cowardly horse. Roach is great.
I mean, Roach understands him. That's his buddy. They've been through a lot of shit together.
At least we're assuming.
Yeah,
believe that.
We're assuming Roach could just be like, I fucking hate this guy.
Yeah.
He fucking talks to me all the time and I really wish he'd stop.
I don't know what he's saying. I'm a horse.
I'm a horse. I have no idea what the fuck you're saying, dude. Renfrey walks up on him and basically tells him the polar opposite story of what Stregobor just told him, that she was the victim and she killed somebody with a brooch that was, raping her. And basically tries to get him to go kill Stregobor for her. So both sides want them to kill each other. And he tells her the same thing, like, no, I'm not being a part of your conflict.
He gives her an ultimatum of just leaving and putting it all behind her.
Yeah. Just walk away.
She pretty much has the inner struggle that it's like, no, she can't put it behind her.
Right.
And that it's either you can kill me and stop me or I'm going to go kill him. Like, there's nothing that I'm like, that's going to stop me from trying to kill him. Right. And that's her only choice.
Well, she kind of fibs to him the night before. And it was like, you're right. I'm going to walk away from this. I'm leaving Blaviken tomorrow.
Well, I'm sure that after she got a good garroting.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, after a good banging, she just tells him what he wants to hear. But I'm sure she had no intentions of ever actually leaving before she kills this wizard.
No. I'm not sure if Geralt just fell asleep or if she poisoned him, though.
Yeah, he wakes up back at the hotel or something, right?
No. Like, he wakes up out in the middle of the woods with her gone. But he has visions when he's coming back to.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if the visions are basically just like destiny talking to him or if she roofied him.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you can actually drug a witcher like that. Because they're supposed to be disease resistant and stuff.
He gets poisoned in the later episode, I believe, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So I don't think they're immune.
No. But after that, he comes back to after having this vision. And the vision was basically of Renfrey telling him to go find the girl in the woods. Which is Ciri. And he comes back to, and he goes back to town.
It's weird that... So she has no knowledge of this girl.
No.
The only thing that connects them is the Black Sun.
Right.
So they just all have to be connected through magic.
Right.
It's the only way she could possibly know about. This is his destiny.
Yeah. So he goes back to town to try to stop her from making a bad choice. I don't think he goes back to town to try to necessarily kill anybody.
Oh, no.
But he's basically going back to town to try to save her from herself. Right? Because he knows she's about to do stupid shit. I would assume that if you kill a mage, and especially
the whole guild's going to come out.
Oh yeah, the whole guild.
Yeah.
Especially a mage that is of essentially the high table. So he's trying to track her down, and he runs into all her thugs.
Yeah,
her thugs tell him the same thing that he's been saying. Like, you got a choice, you can just walk away. Then they draw on him. It's not even a fair fight.
This fight scene is just, the choreography is awesome. It's fucking great. After this scene alone, I was sold on the show.
Yo, yes.
I was like, Henry Cavill is the perfect role. They casted him so well. And he learned all this swordplay and just did such a good job. His swordplay is immaculate.
Well, Henry Cavill actually asked for this role, right?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, he's perfect. Like, he looks the part, he acts the part, his stoic attitude. And the thing is, like, he has a stoic outward appearance, but there's actually stuff going on inside. Like, he's not dead inside like everybody thinks they are.
His grunts are very emotional.
Yes. Yes. Very emotional grunts. But he cuts through these people like they're nothing, like they're water. They don't even have a chance. His blade hits these people so hard, like there's no resistance. The first thing that happens is the dude in the back line fires his crossbow, and he just slaps it aside like it wasn't moving.
Pink sword blocks it.
Yeah. Like he's a Jedi or something. And I'm just like, I'm floored. I'm just like, oh no. You guys don't know what you're getting into. He looks like a guy, but he's not a guy anymore. You know? And he just wades through them.
After he murders all of Renfri's goons,
Yes.
she shows up with a little girl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she shows up with the Elderman's daughter, and she's got her blade to her throat.
She chooses not to kill her, though. Like, she's
Right.
not a bad person.
Yeah, that's not her mark. That's not her target.
Yeah, she's just set on vengeance.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking that her only option is to fight Geralt,
Mm-hmm.
that he's going to stop her, that he made his decision.
Right.
They cross blades, and she's actually very talented, too.
Yeah, she's really good, but this entire fight, much like the fight with the goons, the choreography was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
They were on point. They knew what they needed to be doing with their weapons. It looked great. As far as the characters go, I really felt like the reason that she was doing so well in this sword fight was that Geralt was pulling his punches.
He was definitely holding back, because he didn't want to kill her.
No.
He kind of accidentally cut her throat with her own blade after the fight was over. He'd already won. She came back at him, and
He basically caught her hand and stabbed herself in the throat with her own knife.
yeah.
She had stabbed him once. She had cut his hand open because he reached down and grabbed her blade at one point. Even with being wounded, he still handily beat her.
It definitely wasn't a fair fight.
And as far as other swordsmen and stuff go, she was a cut above anything else that could have been in or around this town.
Yeah, she's supposed to be a legendary swordsman at this point.
During the fight with the goons, though, we did see that Geralt could use a little bit of magic himself, because he did like a Force Nova push thing on some of the guys. He can use a little magic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They had their fight. He ends up killing her. Then Stregobor comes out, and it's just like, hey, we need to get her body and go dissect her to see what mutation she had that caused this. Well, the thing is, this whole time, we don't really know if she even has a mutation. We only think that because Stregobor said she does. She could have just been a normal person. He could have made the whole damn thing up.
Yeah.
She's dead nonetheless now.
Geralt doesn't want her to take the body. So the wizard just kind of turns the whole town against him, and they start stoning him. At that point, he's just known as the Butcher of Blaviken.
Yeah.
Of course, he leaves town. That's the main introduction to him.
Yes. And this whole thing is juxtaposed with what's going on with Ciri over in Sintra.
Mm-hmm.
Which honestly doesn't boil down to a whole lot. We learn a little bit about what's going on. The royal guard comes out and finds her basically playing with the street rats, brings her back to the palace, and she's got to stand there on ceremony while her grandmother is knighting knights. Honestly, not a whole lot shakes out of her story.
It's a brief introduction, and it's pretty much there in Sintra.
Yes.
The queen, her grandmother, Queen Calant.
Yeah.
I might be saying it wrong.
She's a very disagreeable lady.
Yeah, which we'll see her again. Her part in the story isn't over,
right?
Like, because it's confusing, but Geralt has a couple parts with her,
right,
where it's showing them in the past. So pretty much they're being invaded, immediately thrown in. Like the next day they go to war. The Nilfgaardian Empire, and they lose. The Nilfgaardian Empire is like this big, bad, evil.
Honestly, to me, the way the Nilfgaardians feel is like the Russians behind the Iron Curtain. They don't know how many of them they are, but when they finally come out, they just straight overrun them.
Oh, yeah.
They don't even have a chance. Not really.
The main reason they are going around attacking all these people is they're looking for this girl, Ciri.
Yeah, they're looking for Ciri. The Nilfgaardians actually are the ones that killed Ciri's parents. Nilfgaard attacks. It shows a little fight scene where basically like their armies clash. It's a cluster. Eventually, the combat ends with
the king
being shot through the eye with an arrow that was kind of brutal. And basically they got overrun. His reinforcements were supposed to show up, but a freak storm showed up off the coast and stopped, all 50 of the ships.
Mm-hmm. The Nilfgaardians have
they're employing mages.
Mages, yeah. They have a lot of casters.
The next scene we see with them, the queen's already been taken back to their castle and keep.
By this point, they're already in the city.
Oh, yeah.
They're ransacking the city, and they're trying to bust into the main keep. And the queen's hurt and injured, and they're just pretty much talking about, all right, they don't take prisoners.
Yeah.
So they're just going to rape and murder everyone.
Yeah. It's going to be completely brutal.
Yeah. So she has her guard go and get some vials of poison to hand out to some of the other royals.
All the noblemen and stuff like that within the keep, they opt for suicide instead of being taken.
The wizard,
Mousak.
Yeah, Mousak. Just Mousak. He takes her. Ciri, the queen, entrusts her to him.
Basically, Mousak says, right this way, knight, red shirt. They try to escape the keep. Basically, the queen tells her, one day you'll rise up and you'll rule Sintra again, and, this, that, and the other.
She's supposed to find Geralt.
Yes. Tells her to go find Geralt. That Geralt is her destiny. They flee the keep. The Nilfgaardians kill everybody in the keep. And they kill the knight that's accompanying her. And she just happens to get away. Basically, the Nilfgaardian commander actually gets her, abducts her.
Snags her, and take her off. And
is riding off with her, and she activates her powers in Nerd Rages and splits the earth in half. So,
she hits the monolith, and the monolith hits the ground and kind of splits the earth in half.
It splits the earth in half.
You get a little bit of display of this, how powerful this little girl really is, right?
Yeah.
And why they fear her so much.
And then she runs off into the woods.
Handsome Face took it in the neck.
Yeah, Handsome Face died.
The wizard, I'm pretty sure the wizard's still alive.
Yeah, Mousak is still alive. That's pretty much it for episode 1. And for our first outing with these characters, basically our first step into this world as an outsider to it, this was strong. They really embrace the source material. They really embrace high fantasy. I feel like this is high fantasy done right.
Which is rarely.
Rarely. If you ever wondered what your characters look like killing stuff in D&D or Pathfinder or whatever it is you play, this is it. This is high fantasy. And I am so glad that Netflix had the courage to take a chance on this show. And I am so glad that Henry Cavill was just I love these games. I'm all in.
Oh, yeah.
I want this part.
It's nice when things like this work out perfectly like that.
I think any other actor, it still would have been a good series, but man, Henry Cavill is Geralt.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. But other than that, you love this show?
If there's only one season, it's great.
Yeah.
I can't wait for more. Hopefully, I think we're getting the second season this year while we're covering this before the second season comes out.
Yeah.
The whole season's really a short introduction. It's before you really get to a lot of the in-depth lore.
Before you get into the meat of it.
Yeah. It can only go up.
For me, even as strong as this episode is, it's disorienting a little bit.
Yeah, with all the series stuff, you just don't really know
the series
why
stuff.
She matters and everything.
The series stuff really feels out of place because if you don't know, then
it's the way the director chose to do the series, and I think it was well done.
It was a little Tarantino.
Yeah, it definitely was.
It was a little Tarantino.
It all comes together, and it's really well done.
It comes together in the end. This episode was really good, really strong, and I know I am looking forward to everything this series has to offer me.
No complaints here.
No complaints at all. Thanks everybody for joining us as we break down another great episode of The Witcher. If you like what we do, make sure that you hit the thumbs up button down below and subscribe, and tell us what you think in the comments section below. As always, I'm your host Danny, joined by my co-host Derek.
Bye.
See you later, guys. Bye.